The strength of your mind determines the quality of your life. It's what helps you rise after falling. Stay determined through challenges, and keep growing even when the path ahead seems unclear. But often, we unknowingly weaken our mental resilience through habits that sabotage our growth. Buddhism, a 2.500-year-old philosophy, offers profound wisdom to help us identify and transform these habits. In this journey, we will uncover 10 common habits that make the mind weaker and explore how Buddhist teachings provide timeless solutions to regain mental strength and clarity. Habit 1. A negative mindset. A negative mindset is like wearing dark sunglasses on a bright day. It dims everything around you, making even joyful moments seem dull. When negativity becomes a habit, it distorts reality, feeding a cycle of despair and hopelessness that weakens your mental resilience. Buddhism teaches that negativity stems from ignorance, misunderstanding the nature of reality. The Buddha emphasized the importance of right view, a clear and balanced perspective on life. A negative mindset often arises from clinging to fixed ideas or resisting life's natural flow. But the truth is that all experiences, good and bad, are impermanent. The Buddhist concept of anicca reminds us that life constantly changes, and even the heaviest storms eventually pass. This understanding helps loosen negativity's grip, allowing hope and clarity to emerge. Mindfulness is a key practice to counter negativity. It encourages us to observe our thoughts without judgment, recognizing them as passing clouds rather than absolute truths. Instead of letting negative thoughts consume us, mindfulness creates space to acknowledge them and let them go. Metta, loving kindness meditation, is another powerful antidote. By generating compassion for ourselves and others, we gradually replace patterns of negativity with warmth and gratitude. For example, directing thoughts like, "May I be happy and peaceful," helps to cultivate inner kindness, which transforms how we perceive challenges. A negative mindset narrows our view of life, but through mindfulness, compassion, and an understanding of impermanence, we can widen that view and find the strength to face life with clarity and resilience. Habit 2. Complaining about things beyond your control. Complaining is like holding on to a hot coal. It only burns you while leaving the situation unchanged. When we complain about things beyond our control, we trap ourselves in a cycle of frustration and helplessness. This habit not only weakens our minds, but also prevents us from focusing on what we can change. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we resist reality. The concept of impermanence, anicca, reminds us that everything, including our struggles, is temporary. Complaining often comes from forgetting this truth. As we convince ourselves that our challenges are permanent, by embracing impermanence, we begin to see difficulties as passing clouds rather than insurmountable barriers. Another Buddhist teaching, letting go, upekkha, helps us release the emotional weight of things we cannot change. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or ignoring problems. It means accepting what is and finding peace in the present moment. For example, a farmer facing a drought could complain endlessly about the lack of rain, but that wouldn't bring water to his crops. Instead, by letting go of the rain he cannot control, he frees his mind to focus on solutions, perhaps digging a well or conserving water. Acceptance is not passivity but a shift in perspective. When we stop resisting reality, we conserve energy for meaningful action. Complaining keeps us stuck, but by practicing acceptance and focusing on what we can influence, we cultivate mental resilience and the ability to navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and peace. Through this lens, we learn that the way forward lies not in dwelling on problems, but in embracing the freedom to act wisely within our sphere of control. Habit 3. Not expressing yourself. Failing to express yourself is like locking a treasure chest and hiding the key. Your thoughts, feelings, and ideas remain trapped, leaving you disconnected from others and even from your own authentic self. Over time, this habit creates isolation, builds inner tension, and weakens your mental resilience. In Buddhism, the practice of right speech, samavaka, emphasizes the importance of truthful, kind, and purposeful communication. When we hold back our emotions or thoughts, we deny ourselves the opportunity to connect with others and to release internal burdens. The Buddha taught that unspoken feelings can accumulate like stagnant water, becoming harmful to our mental and emotional health. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in overcoming this habit. By observing our inner world without judgment, we gain clarity about what we truly feel and want to express. Mindfulness helps us align our words with our intentions, making our communication more authentic and meaningful. Expression goes beyond words. In Buddhist tradition, nonverbal acts of expression, like offering a simple gesture of kindness or creating art, are equally powerful. For example, a monk unable to articulate gratitude to his teacher once carved a small wooden bowl as a gift. This silent act communicated more than words ever could, fostering a deeper connection between them. Not expressing yourself weakens the mind because it creates disconnection. By practicing right speech and finding ways to share your thoughts, whether through words or actions, you can release inner tension, build stronger relationships, and cultivate greater mental clarity and peace. Expression is not just about being heard. It's about living authentically and fostering understanding within yourself and with those around you. Habit 4. Blaming others for your problems. Blaming others for your problems is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. You burden yourself without moving forward. While it may feel like a release in the moment, this habit ultimately takes away your power, leaving you stuck and unable to grow. In Buddhism, the concept of karma teaches us that our actions and choices shape our experiences. When we blame others, we deny our own role in shaping our circumstances. This mindset not only limits self-awareness, but also keeps us from taking responsibility for our actions and making positive changes. The Buddha often emphasized that true freedom comes from recognizing and owning our role in life's unfolding events. Blame also creates resentment, which is likened to carrying a burning coal. It harms us more than anyone else. Forgiveness, a core teaching in Buddhism, provides a path to release this burden. Forgiving others doesn't mean excusing their actions, but letting go of the anger and bitterness that weigh us down. It's an act of liberation, freeing us to focus on our own growth rather than being held captive by the past. Another important Buddhist teaching is mindfulness. By observing our thoughts and reactions, we can catch ourselves in the act of blaming and redirect our energy. Instead of saying, "This is someone else's fault," we begin to ask, "What can I do to respond to this situation wisely?" Blaming weakens the mind because it places control outside ourselves. By embracing personal responsibility, practicing forgiveness, and observing our patterns with mindfulness, we reclaim our power. This shift not only strengthens our mental resilience, but also empowers us to create positive change in our lives, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. Habit 5. Fantasizing instead of visualizing. Fantasizing is like building castles in the air. Beautiful, but without a foundation, it disconnects us from reality, creating a false sense of progress while leading to disappointment when our imagined scenarios don't align with the real world. This habit weakens the mind by fostering escapism rather than action. In Buddhism, the concept of right intention encourages us to align our aspirations with clarity and purpose. Fantasizing often involves wishful thinking about outcomes we desire, but without effort or consideration of the present moment. Visualization, by contrast, is grounded in mindfulness and focuses on setting achievable goals with deliberate actions to bring them to life. The teaching of impermanence, anicca, also sheds light on this habit. Fantasies tend to fixate on a static and idealized future, ignoring the ever-changing nature of life. When reality shifts, as it inevitably does, fantasies crumble, leaving us disillusioned. Visualization, however, acknowledges life's fluidity, adapting goals to align with current circumstances while maintaining focus and purpose. A famous Buddhist analogy compares life to a journey up a mountain. Fantasizing is like daydreaming about reaching the peak without taking a single step, while visualization is mapping out a path and taking steady strides toward the summit. One leads to stagnation, the other to progress. Fantasizing weakens the mind because it detaches us from reality and drains our motivation. By adopting the Buddhist principles of right intention and mindfulness, we can replace idle dreams with purposeful visualization. This shift helps us bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to be, cultivating a resilient and focused mind that moves forward with clarity and intention. Habit 6. Neglecting personal relationships. Neglecting personal relationships is like owning a beautiful garden, but failing to water the plants. Over time, the bonds that bring joy and support wither, leaving you isolated and vulnerable. Humans are inherently social beings, and meaningful connections are essential for emotional and mental resilience. Buddhism places a strong emphasis on interconnectedness. The Buddha taught that no one exists independently. We are all part of a larger web of relationships. Ignoring this truth weakens the mind because it separates us from the support systems that nurture and sustain us. The practice of loving kindness, meditation underscores the value of fostering warmth and goodwill toward others, strengthening these vital connections. The metaphor of a bundle of sticks is often used in Buddhist teachings to illustrate the power of unity. A single stick can easily be broken, but a bundle bound together is strong and unyielding. Similarly, when we cultivate and nurture relationships, we create a foundation of support that helps us withstand life's challenges. Neglecting these bonds, however, leaves us isolated and more susceptible to emotional distress. Mindfulness also plays a role in maintaining relationships. By being fully present with others, listening deeply and engaging sincerely, we strengthen the connections that bring meaning to our lives. Relationships, like gardens, require regular care and attention. Small acts of kindness, shared moments, and open communication are the water and sunlight that allow them to flourish. Neglecting personal relationships weakens the mind because it removes a vital source of joy, support, and belonging. By embracing the Buddhist teachings of interdependence, loving kindness, and mindfulness, we can reinvest in the people who matter most, creating bonds that enrich our lives and strengthen our mental well-being. Habit 7. Letting emotions rule you. Letting emotions rule you is like being swept away by a raging river. You lose control and direction, making it difficult to respond wisely to life's challenges. When unchecked, emotions such as anger, fear, or sadness can overwhelm your mind, cloud your judgment, and lead to impulsive decisions that you may later regret. Buddhism teaches that emotions themselves are not the problem. It's our attachment to them or our aversion to feeling them that creates suffering. The practice of mindfulness encourages us to observe emotions as they arise, without judgment or resistance. The Buddha likened this to standing on a riverbank, watching the current flow. You can see the water moving without being carried away by it. Similarly, mindfulness allows us to acknowledge our emotions while maintaining clarity and balance. The Buddhist concept of equanimity, upekkha, further helps us navigate emotional turbulence. Equanimity is the ability to remain steady and calm, even amid life's ups and downs. It's not about suppressing emotions, but cultivating the inner strength to experience them fully without losing control. For example, when anger arises, equanimity helps you pause, breathe, and choose a thoughtful response rather than reacting impulsively. Compassion, both for yourself and others, is another key element in managing emotions. When you approach your feelings with kindness and curiosity, you create space to understand them rather than being ruled by them. This approach not only reduces emotional overwhelm, but also deepens your understanding of yourself and others. Allowing emotions to rule weakens the mind by creating chaos and reactivity. By practicing mindfulness, equanimity, and compassion, you can take control of the steering wheel of your life, navigating the waves of emotion with wisdom and resilience. Habit 8. Trying to control everything. Trying to control everything in life is like gripping sand tightly in your fist. The harder you hold on, the more it slips through your fingers. This habit weakens the mind because it creates constant frustration and stress. As we struggle against the reality that many aspects of life are beyond our control, Buddhism teaches that the root of this need for control is attachment. We cling to the illusion that if we can manage every detail, we can prevent discomfort or suffering. However, the Buddha emphasized the concept of anicca, impermanence, which reminds us that life is ever-changing and unpredictable. Attempting to control the uncontrollable is like trying to stop the wind. It only leaves us exhausted and disappointed. The practice of non-attachment helps us let go of this futile desire for control. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or apathy. It means recognizing the limits of our influence and accepting life as it is. For example, a farmer cannot control when it rains, but he can prepare the soil, plant the seeds, and adapt to the weather. By focusing on what he can do, the farmer works harmoniously with nature rather than fighting against it. Mindfulness also plays a critical role in letting go of control. By staying present in the moment, we shift our focus from worrying about outcomes to appreciating the process. This awareness allows us to channel our energy into meaningful actions rather than trying to micromanage everything around us. The need to control everything weakens the mind by fostering stress, rigidity, and disappointment. Through the Buddhist teachings of impermanence, non-attachment, and mindfulness, we can release this burden and approach life with greater peace, flexibility, and resilience. Letting go is not losing control, it is finding freedom. Habit 9. Dwelling on the past. Dwelling on the past is like trying to walk forward while constantly looking backward. You lose sight of where you're going and stumble over what lies ahead. This habit weakens the mind by keeping us trapped in regrets, old wounds, and grievances, preventing us from fully experiencing the present or envisioning a brighter future. In Buddhism, the practice of mindfulness encourages us to live in the present moment. The Buddha taught that clinging to the past creates suffering because it binds us to what no longer exists. When we dwell on past mistakes or pain, we replay them in our minds, amplifying their impact and keeping ourselves in a cycle of regret and self-blame. The concept of impermanence, anicca, reminds us that everything, including our memories and emotions, is constantly changing. Clinging to the past is like trying to freeze a river. It disrupts the natural flow of life. By understanding that both joy and pain are fleeting, we can begin to let go of the past and open ourselves to the possibilities of the present. Forgiveness is a key Buddhist teaching that helps us break free from the chains of the past. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing what happened, but about releasing the heavy burden of resentment and guilt. It allows us to heal and move forward with clarity and lightness. Self-compassion also plays a vital role. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we create a space for growth and acceptance, turning the past into a teacher rather than a prison. Dwelling on the past weakens the mind by anchoring us to what we cannot change. By embracing mindfulness, impermanence, and forgiveness, we liberate ourselves to live fully in the present and step confidently into the future. Habit 10. Worrying about what others say and do. Worrying about what others say or do is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with other people's opinions. It weighs you down and prevents you from walking your own path. This habit weakens the mind by tying your self-worth and decisions to external judgments, leaving you vulnerable to insecurity and doubt. Buddhism teaches the value of equanimity, upekkha, the ability to remain balanced amidst life's praise and criticism. The Buddha often compared the mind to a clear, still lake. When we allow external opinions to disturb us, it's like throwing stones into the water, creating ripples that distort our reflection. Equanimity helps us maintain inner calm and clarity, regardless of the shifting winds of others' judgments. Another core teaching is the importance of authenticity and self-acceptance. The Buddha emphasized that true peace comes from aligning our actions with our values, rather than seeking validation from others. When we chase approval, we build our sense of self on shaky ground. By cultivating self-love and recognizing our intrinsic worth, we strengthen our inner foundation and live with greater freedom. Mindfulness also plays a critical role in overcoming this habit. By observing our thoughts, we can notice when we are overly preoccupied with others' opinions and redirect our focus inward. Mindfulness reminds us that external judgments are fleeting and often say more about the other person than about ourselves. Worrying about what others say and do weakens the mind because it places control of your life in someone else's hands. Through equanimity, self-acceptance, and mindfulness, you can break free from this habit and steer your life with confidence and authenticity, guided by your own values rather than the expectations of others. Conclusion: the path to mental strength. Breaking free from habits that weaken the mind is a transformative journey, not a one-time fix. Buddhism offers profound teachings: mindfulness, compassion, impermanence, and equanimity that guide us toward greater clarity, resilience, and peace. By observing our patterns with honesty and kindness, we can identify the habits that no longer serve us and replace them with practices that nurture our growth. These teachings remind us that mental strength doesn't come from avoiding challenges, but from embracing them with wisdom and balance. It's about letting go of what we can't control, living authentically, and staying rooted in the present moment. Each small step we take, whether releasing negativity, fostering forgiveness, or cultivating self-acceptance, brings us closer to a life of freedom and joy. This journey is deeply personal, yet universal. May these insights inspire you to strengthen your mind and walk your path with courage and compassion.